She said, "I didn't sign up to suffer," and walked out. Gentle piano music begins. In that moment, Liam's world shattered. The echo of her footsteps was all that remained. Heartbreak settled in the silence she left behind, every room heavy with memories and dreams now out of reach. He tried to hold on to hope, but loneliness crept in, turning every day into a struggle. Her absence was a wound that refused to heal, a reminder that sometimes love leaves us with nothing but memories and a longing for what once was. The promise of forever was more than words for Liam and Chloe. It was a vow lived in every glance, every dream, every quiet moment. They built their future together, planning, laughing, and believing their love could weather any storm. But as dark clouds gathered, their promise would soon be tested, revealing what forever truly means. The fall didn't happen all at once. It began with a quiet, unsettling tremor that rippled through the foundations of their perfect world. Liam's business faltered, clients vanished, and the market turned against him. Nights grew longer, hope faded, and the distance between Liam and Chloe widened. The laughter in their home was replaced by silence, and the dream they built together began to crack. The first tremor had struck, and nothing would ever be the same. As Liam's financial situation worsened, the cracks in their relationship became impossible to ignore. The vibrant world they built faded to gray, replaced by tense conversations and mounting debts. Every ring of the phone brought anxiety, and the dream of a happy home felt like a distant memory. Chloe's support turned to criticism, her encouragement replaced by impatient sighs and harsh words. Liam felt the distance growing, terrified that their promise of forever was about to shatter. On a gray, rain-streaked Tuesday, Liam received the final notice: foreclosure. He sat among scattered bills, numb, as Chloe entered, distant, arms crossed. Her words were steady, cold. "I can't do this anymore, Liam. I love you, but I didn't sign up to suffer. This isn't the life I imagined." She packed her suitcase, walked past him, and closed the door softly behind her. He was left alone, her final words echoing in the silence. After Chloe left, the apartment became a hollow shell, every trace of her a painful reminder. Liam drifted through the rooms, haunted by silence and memories. Her final words, "I didn't sign up to suffer," echoed relentlessly, cutting deeper than any loss of money or business. He felt stripped of dignity, convinced that without success, he was nothing. Calls from friends and family went unanswered. He couldn't face the reality of his failure. Days blurred into nights behind drawn curtains, his world shrinking to a perpetual twilight. He couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, and the weight of shame pressed down on him. The love that anchored him was gone, leaving him adrift in grief. He had lost everything: business, home, soulmate, and saw only darkness ahead. At rock bottom, Liam saw no way out, only the suffocating silence of his own ruin. As shock faded, loneliness settled in, a dull ache that filled every moment. The apartment emptied, and an eviction notice sealed his fate. Homeless, he packed his life into boxes and sold what little he had left. His car became his shelter, cold and cramped, a nightly reminder of how far he'd fallen. Days were spent wandering, hiding in libraries, invisible among the crowds. The world moved on, indifferent to his pain. He barely recognized himself in the mirror. Hollow eyes, gaunt face, spirit broken. He was not just financially ruined, but emotionally and spiritually shattered. Liam was a ghost in his own life, weighed down by nothingness. Weeks passed, and survival became routine, but a flicker of his old self returned. Anger replaced self-pity. Anger at Chloe, at himself, at his surrender. He cleaned his car, a small act of defiance against chaos. A haircut and shave restored a sliver of dignity. He saw a survivor in the mirror. He began reading at the library, filling his mind with stories of resilience. Failure became a lesson, not a life sentence. He realized he needed a new foundation, one built on his own terms. With a notebook and pen, he set a single goal: find a job, any job. The prospect was terrifying, but determination sparked within him. Liam was still alone and broken, but the fight was not over. Taking the first step was the hardest. No resume, no suit, just resolve. Rejection after rejection stung, but anger shielded him from despair. At a small construction company, he met Frank, who saw grit in Liam's eyes. "I'll do anything," Liam said, asking only for a chance. Frank nodded. "Be here at 6 a.m., don't be late." That night, hope warmed the cold of his car. He had a purpose again. The work was brutal, but honest exhaustion felt better than months of despair. He arrived early, worked hard, and earned respect from wary co-workers. Physical labor grounded him, each task clearing away the debris of his old life. He was building something tangible, step by step. Liam was finally moving forward, away from the ashes. Liam's first paychecks were precious, but instead of an apartment, he bought a gym membership for showers, a locker, and a sliver of normalcy. The daily ritual of a hot shower restored his dignity. Hard labor transformed his body and mind. Self-pity faded, replaced by discipline. He lived simply, saving every dollar, focused only on the present. At work, he was just Liam, the quiet, relentless worker, his past a secret. Frank noticed his work ethic and sharp eye for detail. One day, Frank tossed him blueprints. "I need an assistant site foreman, more pay. You interested?" Liam stared at the plans, heart pounding. This was more than a promotion, it was validation. For the first time in ages, someone believed in him. With steady resolve, Liam answered, "Yes, I'm interested." Liam's new role as assistant foreman reignited a hunger he thought was gone. He devoured blueprints, spent nights in the library, and became the bridge between old-school wisdom and modern demands. With his increased income, he left his car behind and rented a small room, humble but his own. The old Liam, the dreamer and builder, was back, this time driven by a deeper purpose. Liam had risen from sleeping in his car to becoming a leader in Frank's company, building it with hard work and resilience. The loss of everything taught him that true wealth isn't material. He invested in himself, learning, growing, and earning trust. Frank offered him the company, a testament to Liam's transformation. Liam now possessed a different kind of wealth, self-respect, character, and peace. He had truly risen from the ashes, stronger than before. Taking ownership of the company was a profound, almost sacred moment for Liam. It wasn't just a business transaction. It was the closing of a painful chapter and the beginning of an entirely new book. The company, now his, became the canvas for all the lessons he had learned in the crucible of his failure. He poured his heart and soul into it, not with the reckless abandon of his youth, but with the steady, calculated precision of a seasoned veteran. He honored Frank's legacy by maintaining the company's reputation for quality and integrity, but he also began to steer the ship in a new, more ambitious direction. He was no longer just a manager, he was a visionary, reborn. His leadership style was a reflection of his journey. He treated every employee, from the architects in the office to the laborers on the site, with a deep and abiding respect. He remembered what it was like to be the man with nothing, the one who just needed a chance. He implemented profit-sharing programs and invested in training and safety, fostering a culture of loyalty and shared purpose. His team wasn't just working for a paycheck, they were part of a collective effort, building something meaningful together. The company flourished under his guidance, its growth steady and sustainable, built on a foundation of mutual respect and hard-earned trust. The projects became larger, more complex, and more prestigious. Liam's company began to change the very skyline of the city. He developed a reputation for innovative design and an almost obsessive attention to detail. His past failure had taught him the importance of being meticulous, of anticipating problems before they arose. He was no longer chasing quick profits or flashy success. Instead, he was focused on building a legacy, something enduring that would stand as a testament to his resilience. Each completed building was more than just steel and glass. It was a monument to his comeback, a symbol of his quiet, unyielding strength. Within a few short years, Liam had become a prominent figure in the city's business community. He was respected not just for his wealth, which was now considerable, but for his character. He was the man who had started at the very bottom, who had worked his way up with his own two hands. His story, whispered in boardrooms and on construction sites, became something of a local legend. Yet, he remained grounded, never forgetting the nights he spent sleeping in his car, or the sting of being told he wasn't worth the struggle. He was the architect of a new empire, but he had built it on the humble ground of his own past. With success came a life that was, comfortable, but Liam intentionally kept it simple. He bought a modest, tastefully designed apartment in the city, one that valued clean lines and quiet comfort over any kind of ostentatious display. It was a space that reflected the man he had become, ordered, calm, and self-contained. He found pleasure not in extravagant parties or social climbing, but in the quiet satisfaction of a job well done, a good book, and the company of a few trusted friends, Frank among them. He had learned that true wealth wasn't about what you owned, but about the peace you felt within your own skin. The frantic need for external validation had vanished completely. His physical transformation was as significant as his financial one. The discipline he'd learned in the gym had become a permanent part of his life. He was fit and healthy, his posture straight and confident. When he looked in the mirror now, he saw a man he deeply respected. He saw the scars of his past, not as marks of shame, but as badges of honor. He saw the quiet strength in his eyes, a strength forged in loneliness and despair. He no longer needed a woman like Chloe to reflect his worth back at him. He had found his value within himself, and it was honestly unshakable. It was a profound internal peace he would not trade for anything. This new confidence permeated every aspect of his life. He moved through the world with a quiet authority that drew people to him. He was a good listener, his own struggles having taught him the art of empathy. He was decisive in his business dealings, his past mistakes having given him unparalleled clarity. He had discovered a core of inner strength that was entirely his own, independent of his bank account or his relationship status. He had learned the critical lesson that his happiness could not be outsourced. It had to be built from the inside out, just like the strongest buildings he now constructed across the city. He was a new man, completely transformed from the heartbroken boy Chloe had left behind. He was no longer defined by his relationship with her, or by the failure that had once consumed him. He was defined by his resilience, his integrity, and his quiet determination. He had faced the abyss and had not only survived, but had emerged whole, stronger, and more authentic than he had ever been. The ghosts of his past no longer haunted him. They served as reminders of how far he had come. He was at peace with his journey, grateful for the painful lessons that had ultimately led him to this place of unshakable self-worth. Liam's world was no longer small or confined by fear. It was expansive and filled with possibility. He traveled not to escape, but to experience the world and learn from it. In wild places, he found peace and perspective. Giving back brought him joy, honoring those who once helped him. Mentoring others became one of his greatest rewards. He sought a true partner, someone strong, kind, and loyal. The pain of the past faded, replaced by gratitude. He built a beautiful life, not in spite of heartbreak, but because of it. His world was reimagined, a world he built for himself. It was an ordinary autumn afternoon when Liam, leaving a downtown cafe, heard a voice from his past. He turned, and there was Chloe, a ghost from another life. Memories flickered, but the pain was gone, replaced by calm curiosity. She looked at him, stunned by the man he'd become. The heartbroken boy was gone. In his place stood a man, needing nothing from her, not even an apology. They stood in awkward silence, the city swirling around them. Chloe broke it, her words tumbling out nervously. Superficial updates, stories of status and appearances. Liam realized he was listening to a stranger. Her bright facade crumbled, regret surfacing. "Leaving you was the biggest mistake of my life," she whispered. But her apology landed with no impact. He saw her sorrow was for herself, not for him. He remained calm, knowing he had moved on. He looked at her, the woman who had shared his dreams and then shattered them. He saw the sorrow in her eyes, but also the truth of her regret. Taking a deep breath, he realized the final words were for himself, not her. He was closing the book, not with anger, but with quiet strength. "Some choices can't be undone. You left when I had nothing, Chloe. Now I have everything, but none of it was built for you. You don't deserve me now." Without malice, he turned and walked away, sure of his own worth.